Okay, so I'll talk today about how to create mind-blowing stories for digital marketers. So first of all, I'm also a digital marketer. I know that we're really picky. We don't click in the majority of cases. Well, the rest of other world will click definitely. So that's why I want to touch this side, because I know we have a lot of people from digital agencies here and also from digital marketing tools. So I'm certain that will be relevant to you. But what I think as well, that it's going to be relevant to anyone who works with content as well. So we will see. So first of all, I want to talk about associations that we have when we look at different things. And so for sure, I want to talk about digital marketing world. So when I think about Moz blog, where I also write, I think about quality. That's my first thought about that. When I think about BuzzSumo blog, well, I think about data-driven content and data-driven stories, and I know that Stevie Ryson is super good in doing that, and he knows how to create engaging data-driven stories. When I think about HubSpot blog, well, for sure, it's about actionable content, guides, how-tos, templates, so any kind of facet that you can use in your future strategy and that is really tangible. And then we have thousands of other blogs that follow more or less the same strategy. So they create tips, lists, also guides, whatever it is, roundups, just follow the same trends. And so they are more or less okay. Some of them get enough traffic, some of them not. But why should you worry about that? Why you should think of not being in the tier of others? Because what I think here, that it's about wasting your time and resources. Only with the help of the right content, you can stand out, especially when you don't have the name and recognition. So that's the way you can just be visible. And from other hand, you can get publicity. So you can build your name, improve your image, and become visible. So here is, for instance, my story. And I think it's worth to be mentioned here. So, well, think over this. I'm not a super popular digital marketing expert, but I've selected a particular type of content that I prefer to produce, because besides, like, you know, following any kind of logic here, like, you know, commercial one, well, being honest, I enjoy it. I love doing data-driven stuff. I love crunch numbers. I love working with numbers. I love finding different controversial and predictable trends. So that's why, going back to this one screenshot, that's Moz.com top authors, and I believe that's like yeah, it's from March to September, as I can see from a screenshot. And so, well, I'm really close to the guys like, you know, like Rand Fishkin, Larry Kim, Gianluca Ferrari, Matthew Barber, that have, well, you know, being honest, much more reputation and authority in our industry, because they've started to build it, well, earlier than me. So it's obvious. But the next question is, what works? What really works? And how to be sure that you're following the right strategies? So that's why today I'll show you how to build content that will align with your business interests, become easily viral, generate links, and will reach as much digital marketers as possible. But still going back to question what works. I think powerful and effective content requires a couple of stages that we need to proceed to ensure our success. So first of all, it should be audience research. Then we need to proceed in-depth analysis of content that have been proven to be viral and linkable. So I would say here is like, I want to point out that should be at once. Otherwise, it might be not so good, and I'll explain you further why. And the last one, outreach. It doesn't matter how good you are in producing your content. If you don't do outreach, you skip this stage, it's not going to reach the relatively big audience, if you're not a Moz blog for sure. So without having an exact understanding about your audience and about their interests, well, it's really easy to produce articles that nobody wants to read and share. And so I'm certain you were in that position. And even me, I was also in that shoes when nobody, well, when I was producing content that nobody shared. So that's why I selected the most effective and easy to deliver approaches that will help you research your current and potential audience within a few clicks. So let's see. So first of all, Twitter Analytics, it's obvious, but some people tend to neglect it. So what you can do, you can go to your Twitter Analytics and see what kind of interests it shows. The next one will be Facebook Audience Insights. And so people, it seems for me that in our industry, that's not a lot of people use it for audience research, because that's, you know, some people tend to think that it's like only for paid advertising, but it's wrong. If you have a list of at least 10,000 emails, what you can do, you can go there, upload it as a custom audience, and then enjoy their analytics for free of charge. So you don't pay for that, you just upload their list and see the scope of interests that this group have, as well as their other activities. And I think that's a brilliant way to do that. So moving further, if you're interested about your rivals or about your industry, what you can do, you can go to Follow Me Wrong. That's another one too, where you can see analytics about your, for instance, any Twitter followers' interests. So you put their Twitter handle and then you observe a massive amount of data. And for sure, for digital marketing world, I believe in bound.org, and that's the #1 community right now. Besides, yeah, for sure, we have Reddit, Quora. But I think the most relevant one for me, it's inbound.org, where you can easily just go and search for members that, and then you can just investigate them, and you have, you know, real users, and that's great. So what you can do, you can select skills that are relevant to your niche. For instance, it might be analytics or email marketing, and see what kind of, I don't know, content they share as well, where they're based, whatever it is. So you can just go there and see real people, and that's amazing. And so another one approach that might be also interesting to use here, that's inside that you can find in SimilarWeb. And so what I suggest here, go and put a big block, a big community in your niche, in your particular niche, and investigate what interests their audience has. So you can, well, you know, have also that kind of a view from that perspective. So well, you can gain this data. And the last one, that's, well, you know, I do that a lot, quite a lot, because I think if we have a desire, if we search something, that means we have an interest in that, and for sure we have a demand. So those two things really good in terms of investigation. And if you have a particular niche, what you can do, you can go to any keyword tool. Here is a SEMrush keyword tool, and I'll explain you why I want to share this one particular one, because you know that we have a lot of different tools, well, including the Google's ones. What I love here is about categorization. So you can see that you have the group of keywords that are categorized by the most common keywords that SEMrush filter out in this easy-to-use menu. So that's why I prefer here SEMrush. So at that point, you know your audience and what kind of content they want to consume. But you need to get as much visibility as you could. That's why you need to analyze the most shareable and linkable content, and for sure in your niche. But it's not so straightforward, what I can say. If you don't know how to deliver that, it may take a lot of time. But I'm here to show you everything and save your time right now. So how you can find out the most shareable and linkable content and what? Let's see. But before that, let me tell you that the most shareable content doesn't equal to the most linkable. You probably don't believe me. You think I'm kidding or something like that. Might be, but I have some numbers and stats behind my statement. So I want to show you that. So for instance, BuzzSumo and Moz, they cooperated in order to receive a research about the correlation between links and shares. And here, as you can see, so the correlation is really low. Sometimes it's just, it's like so low that it might not be. So while, for instance, in B2B content, you see like, you know, kind of a bigger correlation than any others researched industries. But let me show you another one example that's going to, well, be more straightforward and point out the problem. So here is the Moz Content Performance. So just to let you know, the average number of social shares, it's beyond 3,000, and average number of referring domains, it's, well, in around 70. So you see, so I just exported all the articles that were published on Moz blog for the last 12 months. And so I added here a column with total shares that I took from BuzzSumo, and there are the ones with the number of referring domains. So as you can see, for instance, some of really viral pieces, they are not link worthy. And so in the opposite side, some pieces that don't have the same level of the same number of social shares, it shows a high number of links. So right now, I believe it's more or less proven by data, and so we can go back to the point where we need to figure out those content. So here is a couple of tools to use to get this data really fast. So first of all, you need BuzzSumo. As I already mentioned, I was using BuzzSumo in order to get those articles. So you put a blog that you wanted to investigate. You get the list, then you go to Ahrefs, and so, well, for sure you can go to Majestic as well, but I'm not certain whether they have the same data in terms of top pages, but I believe they should have, why not? So here are, like, you know, that's my personal preference. So I go to Ahrefs, and then I go to top pages over there by links. And I export so this data, and what I do, I just match those two data sets from BuzzSumo and Ahrefs in a spreadsheet. But you know, sometimes you have a particular list of URLs, or you don't want to work in Excel, then you have an option theorem. So you can just put some particular URLs, and it's Ahrefs-based analysis tool, and I love it. I use it pretty a lot. It's speeding up the processes and giving you a really good amount of data in a few clicks. So basically, you put their URLs, and you click Start Analysis and get the list, which you can export as well. So here, as you know, you have a bunch of options. Especially, it makes sense when you have a big domain. Like, I don't know, at some point you might want to analyze Forbes.com, which, well, you know, has a lot of articles, and so in that case it will be hard to export everything. So you want to select a particular pages to analyze. So that might be a case for this as well, to use this. So moving further, I would say that still, even if you are careful in terms of proceeding all those stages, so you delivered everything, without outreach, nothing will work. So here is a couple of, I'm sorry, I still use here 5, but I'm not going to show you 5. I was considering about 5 and didn't remove it, but still that will be enough hacks, what I can say. So I will show how you can increase the effectiveness of your outreach throughout involving experts, digital marketing tools, and sharing your content on the relevant communities. So first of all, experts. So what I can say here, we've experimented pretty a lot here, because besides Digital Olympus, we have also an agency, and we produce for different actually industries, but we have a bunch of clients for digital marketing niche as well, and we do those kind of pair campaigns for them. And we've been experimenting quite a lot with experts and involving them in different ways, and I'll show how. So talking about digital marketing tools, I feel relatively the same. We were like, you know, for my personal needs, I cooperate a lot with tools as well. Sometimes it's really effective, sometimes not so good as I've supposed to. And so, well, you know, without sharing your content on the relevant communities, I don't believe it's going to be so good as it can be, as it could be. So working with experts, here is an example of a content where we did something, so where we involved experts. So what we did, firstly, we crunched numbers. So we put together solid research, and then we thought like, okay, we have a research and we are more or less, it's structured, it has some insights, but how can we do, well, how can we enforce it? So how about involving experts? So what we did, did 2 things simultaneously. We asked for a quote. That's the simple way of doing that. So if you don't have time, you still can ask for a quote, but we thought that, okay, what else we can do here? And we thought, okay, how about asking the same questions that we've, you know, kind of researched, that we researched in our content. And we did a small survey and distributed it across experts. And so, as I remember, we involved a bit more than 50 experts. And so what I believe, it helps. So experts were like, you know, the number of referring domains, that was a natural one. We weren't doing a lot of outreach. So, and so the majority of those referring domains were reached because of those experts, because they put links to our research in their content on their websites. And that was like really, really nice. So we thought like, okay, that works. And that's what I want to share with you. That's what you can use as well. So talking about involving digital marketing, I do it a lot, but I thought about why not to talk about Brian Dean Case. So I'm sure you're familiar with that guy, and he's super smart and nice. And so what I think here is like, you know, a really good example of how he intelligently combined various tools in order to receive more publicity and for sure links and social shares. And here is, for instance, the top content from Backlink website. And as you can see, this one research, it's on the 5th place, but it was published a couple of months ago. And so as you can see, it works. It works perfectly. So it's like, you know, in some case, it's performing relatively the same as the old content that was have been getting links for the last 3 to, I don't know, 4 years. And so talking about communities, I want to touch here inbound.org. So here is what we found so far, that it's much better to share on inbound.org, not your a link straightforward to your content. That's what you can do. That's an option. You just put a link there and try to upvote it and outreach it, which makes sense as well, for sure. But if you're interested more in publicity and for sure in traffic as well, because believe me, I'll show you'll get the traffic as well. What you can do, you can streamline a discussion. So you put the results of your content. Well, in that case, that's a data-driven piece. And for sure, I added in the end of this discussion the link to a content, a link to content. But the idea behind it was, to start a conversation and ask people to join a conversation rather than upvoting it. And so I think we've been that's it was performing pretty good. So that's, you see the results. We were able to get around 50 comments, and so that's a fairly good result for inbound. And we were, when we were outreaching people, we were asking them to join a conversation rather than avoiding it. And that was, a better way to engage them and to work with them. So you can do this as well. And so talking about traffic, how that's a screenshot that points out how exactly this post has performed in September. And usually you can see it's like on the 5th place of all content, website content. And so what else you can see from here, what else I can tell you, it has gained so far 2% of the total number of unique visitors or the whole website, and I think that's pretty good. So what we've done so far, we went through some processes, and what I believe that should help you build a solid content that will be appreciated by digital marketing industry and even for the most so for those who are really picky in terms of consuming their content. If you know what they wanna, then you are not going to produce something that is going to waste your time and money. So research your audience, so learn exactly what they want to read and share, and based also enforce it with a data-driven approach. So research provides in-depth analysis. So it's better to say, I believe, deliver in-depth analysis of the most linkable and shareable content, and deliver outreach. Don't forget about outreach. And by this, your content will be lovable, shareable. You will get a sufficient number of links and enough publicity. So thank you very much. And so here is like I do it time to time. So I want to share with you, if you are interested, 1 hour of consulting. So what you need, you just need to email me, and the first 5 people will get this 1 hour, and I'll analyze your content for free. And thank you very much for your time. I believe I'm on time as well. So here is like, some links which you can follow, and thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you very much for that, Alex. That was a great presentation. Fits in very nicely with what we've seen so far this morning as well. Just one question I have. When you're dealing with those specific posts, there's a lot of work that goes in the research, implementing, and the analysis as well. What sort of timescales do you have in place when you're developing a new post? How long do they take?
So, in majority of cases, it really depends on the industry. If you are more or less aware about that, it takes less time for sure. That's pretty, obvious. But if we talk about industry that I've never dealt with, then I would assume that it might take not less than 10-20 hours, just because you need to understand what's going on, how they share it, because in different industries people use different channels. Some like don't use social media at all. Some of them only do it on social media and don't link to content. So you need to understand all those kind of, you know, different things that will then I'm for sure we'll create a full strategy, the solid one, because without knowing these specific things, it's hard to tailor your strategy and make it data-driven.
And if you had, you went through a lot of tools there, all of which very good. If you had to pick one as a go-to favorite, which would it be?
I can't live without BuzzSumo and Ahrefs. That's my favorite. That's a combination. I talk a lot about those two tools, but you just believe me, I'm not like, you know, a promoter or something like that. I just use them, and so it saves so much time. And so sometimes I can't believe that the world might live without them. So yeah, that's my true passion about them, and that's, you know, like an expert, I use them first of all, just, you know, but that's like, you know, a lot of tools. And so what I believe, any digital marketing expert should find their passion, you know, that's like, you know, kind of a tool that's really inspire them, and they go there and they know that it's going to be easy, straightforward in terms of using. That's not going to be glitchy, annoying, whatever it is. Interface looks so cute, and so you love to spend your time there. So I don't think that there is like, you know, one tool for everyone. I don't believe in that, because we are all unique, we are all different. So that's why, well, you know, that's my personal preferences, and if people want to share those preferences, that's great.